What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome over to the DFS Five Pack, starring Matt Bellman and his sidekick Ryan Kostrowski here to talk a little NBA DFS today. Hopefully, everybody had a nice night last night. I feel the field was going to be relatively split based on one thing right there, and that was the Gary Harris injury. That hurt. Also, there was a couple things. Did you get the Julius Randle info in time? Because he was excellent. And that probably influenced the night. Those two moves right there were the biggest things factoring into last night.
Yeah. The Randall news was really important. And unfortunately for me, I got the Randall news in time. But the game that I liked was garbage. So that was the unfortunate part. But even if I wanted to get Randall into more lineups, I couldn't because my player's locked.
Oh, that's right. Because you liked the early game, which just happened to be a major blowout. So those really help. I don't know. I'll tell you what I tell you, Matt. There's a new slate today. You burnt that money. It's gone. Let's go back and get it right now.
Let's get it.
All right, guys. So you all have been awesome lately. You guys, I can't even tell you how much we appreciate all the extra thumbs ups. It helps us get more views, more new subscribers, helps us, keep the business going and everything like that. So again, sincerely appreciated from us. If you happen to be new to the station, that red button that says subscribe, go press that bad boy for more DFS videos. We can't thank you guys enough. We're out here, putting out the free info and then the pay info as well, but you guys are what keep us going. So y'all rock.
Yeah. Like the athletes need the fans. We need you guys.
Yeah. We're not athletes though. So it's a little bit different. It hurts me just to get off the couch in the morning. So we have a new intern who's going to just be doing a little part-time work for us. A young college lad named Luke. He started an official 5-pack Twitter page. Matt and I still have our own personal pages, but the link to it is down there in the description section. I would encourage everybody to go down there and follow it today. And if you want the full write-up and the full show where we break down every game and every player, just go sign up to be a member, guys. $30 monthly is really affordable. You get all the sports, baseball, basketball, football. Lifetime will cover anything you want. Get your physical write-up at the end of the day, and then let's roll into this evening. So I've talked about it enough on this show, and if you've watched it for long enough, a lot of you guys know that I used to play poker for a living for a brief time. So you guys know I love the term all in. That's how I feel about Sacramento and Phoenix. I'm pretty much just all in on this game. It has all the makings of an up and down game with lots of turnovers, points, great for DFS. One of the guys you're going to want to start with is Josh Jackson. Booker out, Warren unlikely to play. In this time period, through the last couple of games, Jackson is averaging about 31 DK points per game. He's taken 17 shots per game. He's scoring effectively, even based on his new price, and he hasn't even been making shots. If he makes shots tonight, it could go up. He's got 40-point upside here for sure in what is one of the premier teams to pick on in the DFS world, which is the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, so a couple things for me. One, I fully agree with you that we, love this game, selling my soul for this game, love it. The unfortunate thing is, I would love this game if it were a 12-game slate. It's only a 5-game slate. So, when me and you see eye to eye like that in the beginning of the morning, I love that. When we like the same game. I don't necessarily feel that way today because don't you think everyone loves this game? I
would have to assume so. One of the other guys I talked DFS with, and I hadn't even looked at the slate yesterday, but he sends me a message saying, so basically just all in on Sacramento Phoenix. And I'm like, yeah. I didn't even know if it was a 4-gamer or a 9-gamer, assuming it would be smaller because it was Tuesday. I'm like, yep, you're right. 9-game slate. I'd be all in on Sacramento Phoenix. So I do think that most of the DFS community is going to be right there. But I know you love to be different. But I feel like my job today as your partner is to talk you off the ledge of trying to go look at a different game. I just don't feel like it's worth the effort to try to be different here. This game is a crush spot. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to work out that way. But if these two teams played 100 times, 75 or 80 of them are going to end up being really good games for DFS return on the majority of their players. I just don't want to make that bet on the 20% and then hope I get the other game right. Because a lot of the other games aren't that great to really check out from a DFS perspective.
They're shitty, plain and simple. There's no other really good game. There's a one or two others with high totals that could be close, but I'm with you. So
Well, I want to take a real quick side note on that. You brought up the totals, and we've talked about this one at length. Totals is different than DFS points too. Generally, a total will associate to good DFS points, but if you look at the Portland Trailblazers, they just don't have that many guys that score effectively, and they have one of the more desirable places today going up with Dallas. This game, while the total may not be significantly higher than some of the other games, the DFS point should be greater because there's going to be turnovers, and those steals, they really add up, and all those rebounds, I mean, that shit piles up on you quickly.
Yeah, no doubt. Listen, I think kind of like we talked about before the show, I'm going to try to differentiate myself with like sneakier one-offs and still go all out on this game.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Or you could slightly differentiate yourself in this game.
Yes, because the other thing which could work in, like my favor is we talked about, me and you before, there aren't a ton of studs to pay up for either. And there's a lot of value in this game. I think some of that value goes unowned because there's just no need for it. The lesser value on paper will go way unowned.
Yep, and when we talk about like being different in the game, Josh Jackson for me is a slightly better play than Trevor Ariza, but he should also have maybe double the ownership?
I think they're both chalky as hell. I love both.
Okay, so whatever it breaks down, you can just try to be a little bit different within the game. Maybe De'Aaron Fox gets ignored because he's too pricey.
Yeah, and on the other side, maybe De'Aaron Fox gets ignored because he's too expensive, or Okobo gets ignored because he's too expensive.
Yeah, there's just try to. There's only 8 spots. You can't roster everybody. We talked about this. I think it was Friday night. Was it Friday night when Aaron Baines was popular?
Yeah.
Okay, I liked Aaron Baines. I get why a lot of people played him. I just couldn't play him because you only have 8 spots, and that's how today could break down.
Yeah, man, we talk about that often. It's not even like you're fading Aaron Baines. You just literally can't fit him. And with centers, you only have 2 spots.
Exactly, and that's why I liked Aaron Baines a lot. He was good. Everybody who played him made a lot of sense. I wanted to play him. You just can't play everybody.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Speaking of the Phoenix Suns, here comes their big man. I'll let you get into him, Matt, but I'm going to put a bold call out there and say this has all the potential of being this young man's best DFS game of his career.
Yeah, I mean, this is like that Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other? I feel like this is like Ayton versus Cauley Stein in this matchup because they're both just can't defend and neither team can guard big men. I mean, you've got big men versus the Suns, big men versus the Kings. So Ayton, the more skilled of the two, is going to be a huge centerpiece in their offense tonight. No Warren, no Booker. He gets up and down the floor. I mean, at 6'5", he's projected really high. It's really, really hard to get away from him. I know there's a few centers in play that we like, but he's on the top of the list for me.
Right. Now, I can make a case for not playing him based on the fact that on this price tag and off of his recent production, he's not a lock for good points. It is a tough fade, though. I feel very strongly he'll give you a good, solid performance tonight. I think he'll be pretty popular, too. But I don't really care because this lines up as a great spot for him. This is the kind of game that's perfect for a young man like him. I expect good points from him. It's hard to get away from some of the guys in this game, and he's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next up, I'll be honest. I don't love Damian Lillard today. I don't think this is the best play of the year or anything like that. I just look at this for cash games is a very solid ownership play. I expect Lillard to be popular. Why? There are no other studs. Anthony Davis, not playing. LeBron, not playing. I'm having trouble. Harden, not on the slate. Nobody else is on here. So Lillard comes in as the most expensive guy on the slate, and he's not even 10K. There is so much value at the sub 6K range that paying for Lillard is really easy. It's not even a stretch to go up here. And I spent all morning trying to make a rational case, who else could we pay up for? I just don't have it. And Lillard is a guy, he averages about cash game value on road games based on this price. I don't think you necessarily need him to give you 50 tonight because I expect his ownership to be high, because there is so much value throughout the slate. I think you just lock him into cash games. And if you want to be different in GPPs, I can totally get on board. But he is, without question, the best player on this slate. And he's going to be popular for it. I just think you start your cash games here because he's so easy to pay for today.
Yeah, so I feel like on the cash game side of things, it's like you say, he's real easy to pay for. And the GPP side of things, I might look at it like he's almost too easy to pay for. And sometimes when things are like that, that's where you could differentiate yourself. Just saying, like we talked about earlier, it's hard to get away from Lillard in cash games because of all your points. He's going to be, it's only a 5-game slate. I could see him being 50+% owned because of that. What do you think?
I think 66 is reasonable. I'd be shocked if he's below 50, I'll be really, really surprised. I think a lot of people will start with him and then load up on the Suns and the Kings game because that game is so logical, such a logical place to go. I didn't open up the slate and be like, man, I got to play Lillard today. I just started filling out rosters. I'm like, I have all this money. Why wouldn't I play the best guy on the slate? And I feel like a lot of people will fill in that way because it's so simple to pay for him today without any other guys that you're really like honing in on at over 8K.
No, I get it. You get when you're lineup constructing and you're making lineups, it becomes a problem when you have, 9K, 9,500 left in a forward or whatever it is. There's just no one to go to. He is easily the best player on the slate. Point well taken.
So it's tough to get away from as purely as an ownership play. Like, I don't think he's going to give you 60 tonight. He could. He's Damian Lillard. Dallas is not great at defending the point guard position. But realistically, I expect a good game here. Portland's taking a little step back. Dallas is not as bad as some people think. Game's in Dallas. I mean, just give me 4 quarters of Lillard, and he'll roll into 40 plus.
If he's going to be that high owned, also, like, you don't expect his raw points will be there. We talked about a way that I like to be different in tournaments, and we'll get into that on members only. But that's just you're still not expecting Lillard to fail there. You know what I mean? Like, Lillard will get somewhere on the low end, 45. You have to assume.
Well, I mean, if the low end's 45, I'd play him everywhere. But
well, I guess low end 40. You say low end 40? Did we freeze?
All right, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. So would you say low end 40?
I think 40 is very, very reasonable today. I think that if you had to give me a betting total, and if you said 40 and take the over or the under, I would bet on the over. But it's not a guarantee. There are some games that are just not that competitive. And sometimes if the game isn't close and he doesn't need to close, Lillard is a great closing act. He's really, really good at taking control of the last couple of minutes of the game. But if there's a 15-point discrepancy, sometimes he just doesn't need to do it.
This Portland needs a win here too. I like Portland in this game.
Definitely. All right. Go ahead, Matt.
So, I mean, kind of talked about it a little with Ayton, but when I looked at this slate, when I first opened it, it's hard for me not to just plug both of these guys in. It's difficult because they take both their center spots out of the equation. But, I mean, hell, if they both get GPP upside, then those are the 2 centers you want. Bagley's still questionable. I don't think Bagley's going to play. He didn't practice yesterday. And they have 3 days off until their next game. Now, I thought the same thing with Aaron Gordon last week, and he played. Little different situation. I think Bagley's more doubtful than questionable, but who knows?
How's it different, Matt? They're both at Phoenix. It's exactly the same then, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? So, yeah, it does give him a little bump if Bagley's out. But either way, so you talked about this at the beginning of the show, and I think Cauley-Stein's a perfect example. The matchup just suits him so well because there's going to be so many possessions, so many of those rebounds are going to be at his disposal tonight. He could walk into 4 steals here. He could walk into 4 blocks. He could walk into 4 of each. The upside's real here.
Yeah, you like Cauley-Stein in an up and down game like this. You don't like him in a half court game because he's just not a half court type of player.
Yeah, honestly, I think I like your Ayton points, and I think he's more solid. But I think that the upside on Cauley-Stein is really high here.
Yeah, they both make a lot of sense. We talked about Miles Turner as well. So center position is strong tonight. I highly advise doing your best to try to roster 2 centers this evening.
Have to.
If you're newer to NBA DFS, you generally try to get point guards or centers into the utility position because they're just the more replicable players as far as getting their stats over and over again. Point guard isn't that strong today. I'm definitely looking at 2 centers.
Same. And guys that I wouldn't even play here, but if they played other positions, would potentially be in play. Gobert, Vucevic, who's playing awesome. Those guys are just out of the equation.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, that's what we got for you today. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to join the team, go sign up. We'd love to have you. Welcome aboard to all of the new members the last couple of days.